All right. It has been a long day. It's been a good day, but a long day. Today is the first day that we have ever generated a positive number by selling food to people. It is a momentous and monumental day. There's like nothing more satisfying that I have found yet than making something with your hand that people value enough to pay you money for and that they enjoy. To see them enjoy it, to see the smile on their face, to see them light up when they try it, to want you to come back and do it again. That is the feeling I think that I have been chasing for as long as I can remember. We sold loaded pork baked potatoes, chicken wings, and pork ribs, and they were outstanding. I have to say that these were some of the best ribs that I have ever made, and the chicken wings were good too. They weren't the best I've ever made, but they were top 3, top 4, and the pork was meh, but it was a lot better than just average stuff. That satisfaction that I got today made me just realize that I have committed, I think, to the right path through self-employment. Trying to sell my services as a dietitian and offer medical nutrition therapy and one-on-one nutrition counseling and provide my expertise to people. It's good on paper, and it's something that I'm qualified to do. I have earned the right to do that legally through my licensure. This thing right here. This is the most important document that I have. This represents so many gates that I have passed. This represents every test that I passed in undergrad. This represents every night I stayed up studying, every extracurricular volunteer experience that I did, every time I washed dishes in that nursing home to get those lines for my resume, all of the heads that I butted in my internship. That license represents all of that. Passing the exam, passing the internship, having a clean record in the state of Tennessee that is almost immaculate. I don't know how you would get a state license with some blemish on your record. All of that, and I find absolutely no joy in trying to solicit people for money and to tell them what they're doing wrong by eating and how they could change that. It sounds good, but the reality of it is that it brings me absolutely no joy to do that. I like to help people, but it doesn't seem to be a good way to pursue earning a living to me. Anyway, so we're in an intermediate state on this RV. This is the PowerPoint that I made for the Knox County Department of Public Health officials after I received, I think, 4 different stories from 2 different people on what would and wouldn't be acceptable. And to be fair, I'm not attacking them. I don't want them to ever watch this video and feel like I think that they're not good at their job. That's not necessarily true. It's that they've never done an RV conversion to food truck. So there's a lot of stuff, a lot of codes, and I've read about 40 to 50 pages of codes in the last week and talked to 3 different technicians that are specialized for RVs across 2 different dealerships, talked to an electrical wizard, tried to talk to 5 different plumbers. Yeah, we had to escalate the problem all the way up to the state. So the state head in Nashville of environmental health, where I had a conversation where I pled my case. I was like, this is what I want to do with this RV. This is how it meets your codes. Why isn't this acceptable? And they were nitpicking on little things like the equipment that I was choosing, like your fridge isn't a commercial fridge. And I'm like scratching my head. What does that mean? What does commercial fridge exactly mean? Is that a compressor rating? Is that a cubic foot? Like what does this exactly mean? I know what one looks like in my mind. It's a big double door stainless steel thing, but is there anything that is a line in the sand that says past this is commercial and before this is just not? I don't know, maybe there is. Maybe some expert can tell me. But I'm not aware of one. And the equipment that I'm going to use, I have seen in a lot of commercial kitchens. So how I got past that is I explained to her, I know a little bit about this equipment. When something of mine breaks, I take it apart and I fix it. Sometimes I take it all the way down to the circuit boards and I unhook them and I reconfigure them in a different way. I did this just the other day, fixing a power source at the lab that I work at. I did that with a water pump. And so I was telling her, this is how I'm going to approach these problems of cooling things off quickly enough. We do ice baths. We put it into smaller quantities. Like I'll use sixths pans and we'll ice bath it, increase the surface area to volume ratio, and then you use it to hold stable temperatures, not to bring it down. This is how you deal with weaker compressors compared to more robust compressors that you would see in those big, giant, beautiful $4,000 stainless steel double door, 70 cubic foot fridges that I cannot afford. Then we got to the issue of contamination, and I was like, well, I can tell you this. As somebody who works in life sciences, I deal with cell culture a lot, and I have to organize my workflow in such a way that a trillionth or a quadrillionth amount of contaminant will ruin 3 weeks of my life. Like, that is the level at which I understand contamination as a STEM person who works in life sciences. It is well beyond what your standard food service professional is going to understand. It's tested. Every time I do cell culture, it's tested. It's not like a theoretical. These aren't just words. Like, I actually have to do this stuff. And I was like talking about logs and stuff. And after we got past that point where I could basically demonstrate with my troubleshooting, like, well, this is exactly what I would do to work around these issues, not just that I can work around these issues, don't worry about it. She said, okay, all right, you seem like you're knowledgeable enough and qualified to do this. And then she basically instructed the Knox County guy to go ahead and approve this. But the thing is I had to redo it from square one. Here's what we did. I took everything on that application and I said, this is exactly how we're going to do it. Ceiling, overhead cab compartment, walls, cabinets. I took a video and I pulled images from the video where I described exactly what I was doing. Hand wash sink. This is how we're going to set it up. Propane range. This is how I want to use it. Here are some questions that I have about the plumbing system. This is how I'm going to create my serving window. This is how I'm going to address the sleeping quarters in the bed area. Long story short, we're going to pull the mattress out when we're mobile food uniting. Bathroom area. This is how we're going to use it. Long story short, we're not when we're mobile food uniting. Dinette. Here's a big one. How are we going to modify this? This is where the 3-compartment sink goes. We're going to plumb it. It's not going to be hard to plumb. You drill a hole in the floor and run PEX plumbing and split it. Dinette continued. More of the bed area. Onboard fridge. It's an absorption fridge. We're not going to be using it. Oh yes, links. All of the links that I did. This is exactly what equipment I'm going to be using. This is where you can find it. This is what the specs are. I spoke with a chef here that owns a commercial kitchen that he has agreed to be the commissary for me. It's cool. It's inconvenient on one hand because that's just an extra little bite that is taken out, but it's not technically in the codes that I need a commissary, for one, and for two, he is going to let me teach barbecue classes. Because one of the things that this chef does with his space is he rents it out for catering, and he also has a commercial teaching lab there. And I was telling him a little bit about my background and about some of the other stuff. Like, I put together, Department of Corrections workshops and lectures. I teach undergrads all kinds of things, clients, all kinds of things, from stop wasting your money on supplements to this is how your body splits fructose to the triose phosphate pathway to start. This is glycolytic energy production. It just depends on what they want. Some people like to go all the way down. But I'm going to do barbecue classes with this chef, and I'm going to use my pit, and he said he would buy me the briskets. I can't afford briskets. They're too expensive. But whenever anybody wants to buy a brisket, that means I get to refine the craft. And I have researched briskets so much, and my brisket is the peak of my knowledge. Culinarily, food science, artistic expression, the brisket is how I expressed myself. I wish I could share it with you. Maybe someday I'll be able to afford a lot of briskets. So what we have here is a letter from the office of County Mayor Glenn Jacobs saying that Pork Belly's Barbecue, soon to be Dr. Pork Belly's Barbecue, has been approved. We will meet the requirements. This is like a contract if we make the modifications described in this brick, then we will be awarded an annual permit for Knox County. And that's a big step. That unlocks catering for us. That eliminates the need legally to get a commissary. That does a lot of things for us. But that is not a city permit. Tomorrow, we have a meeting with the issuer of the city permits. And that is what's going to let us go and vend in the food truck parks and go to the hipster side of town. That's going to let me sell food to them. And I'm excited about that. I'm sure they like barbecue. I bet they'll like my barbecue. I'm willing to bet a tremendous amount of money and risk that they will. God, I hope they like my barbecue. Tomorrow, I meet with the city issuer, and she's going to go over the next steps. I know I'm going to have to get an electrical inspection. That's fine. I've already talked to an electrical technician that specializes in RVs. Basically, all we have to have is GFCI outlets and nothing jury-rigged. We've got the GFCI outlets, and all of the stuff is wired the way it should be, out of the box. Would you believe that that's a legal requirement? So, then we have to go to the fire marshal. And since we don't have any equipment that produces grease-laden vapors, which are like a deep fryer or a griddle, we're not going to need a hood with a fire suppression system. All we're going to need is a little squeezy fire extinguisher, which I already have. The plumbing inspector. I don't know if we need a plumbing inspector. If we don't need it, I'm not going to bring it up. It's nerve-wracking. I'm anxious. If all of this goes well, we're going to close on Friday, which is the very last day of our finance offer. And if it doesn't go well, then we're probably just going to let it pass. But if it does go, it's going to be really cool. It's going to be an awesome project. I'm already thinking about exactly how I'm going to do everything I need to do to it. Pretty excited about it. So we'll know by tomorrow. It's already past the hard gate. The hard gate was the county. They were road blocking, but we got state to direct them. So they received direction from the state, and we received a contractual agreement in the letter of the mayor. I will let you guys know how it goes, hopefully before Friday. Goodbye. We got the green light from the county.
Woo!